Hey, all right. So we're going to be building a WhatsApp AI agent, and this is basically the flow. And we're going to discuss this flow, and we're going to run some tests so you understand in a clear, easy way, well, what's going on here? What are these connectors? What are these modules that we're looking at? And this might look a little confusing, but once we go through it, it's going to be a piece of cake because clarity comes through fundamentals. All right. The benefit and what I want to discuss in this video before we go through how this works and take a nice quick look at what's happening with each step, I really want to point out to you why this is so wonderful. WhatsApp, people use it, it's the more mainstream version of Telegram, let's say. And what's wonderful about having AI agents accessible through WhatsApp, imagine you can be on a bus, just finished on a very important meeting, and you're looking to find a place to eat. So imagine that. You need to find a good place to seal that deal. You can just go to your personal assistant who's going to respond to you no matter what because they're available 24/7. And you can say, hey, I need to find a good place for a business lunch. And by the way, this is the WhatsApp desktop version, which I'm going to be using in this course with my phone version. They're linked together. So whatever I type in my phone is going to come through here and vice versa. It's just a good way for you guys to see that this is actually working. And you're going to have this set up as well. You can set it up on your desktop too, or just use it on your phone. It's up to you. But that way you really get to see. But everything I'm typing here is going to come through into my phone and just basically gets linked back and forth. They're synced together. So, hey, I need to find a good place for a business lunch in, let's say, Philly. Can you recommend something not too flashy or expensive, but professional? So let's send that out to our AI agent. So this trigger is listening basically for that message. Then we have a little filter mechanism so we don't waste any of our API calls with things that aren't related to the body of the message. That goes to our AI agent and then outputs a response. So certainly Philadelphia has a variety of great options for business lunch. Look at that. So we're getting some options over here. We even have more. We can read more for, look at that. We got 5 options. So that is awesome. And now from my phone, I'm going to type from my phone. So just so you know, I'm not doing any kind of funny business or magic trick here. This really is going to work on your phone. I can test this further, just demonstrate to you that we actually control the history of the messages and how much history we want our personal assistant, our AI agent on WhatsApp, to remember. So I don't have to be specific anymore. I can say, well, out of those options, which one do you think has the best salads? Okay, because we know that our business potential clients love salad. And look, when I hit enter right now from my phone, it just pops up. It's synced up. It pops up on desktop so we can see that. And now we just have to wait. Look how fast that is. That isn't ChatGPT 4. That's ChatGPT. That isn't ChatGPT 4 Mini. That's ChatGPT 4. So if you're particularly focused on finding a place with great salads, Park would be an excellent. So that was the #1 choice here, located in Rittenhouse Square. I used to live around there. That's fantastic choice. I concur. Their menu typically features options like a classic niçoise salad. Who doesn't love a classic niçoise if they love salad? Of course, if you're vegan, then you probably won't. That's another story. This works, guys. Do you see this? This is working. This is what we're building. I'm very excited to show you how this works, how to set it up. When it comes to WhatsApp, since it's owned by Facebook, there's a few hoops and loops to jump through, which are overly complicated because Facebook loves to do that you just won't see on Telegram. But this opens up a much wider audience when you're working with businesses, when you're consulting, when you want to build AI agentic workflows for others and show them and integrate this into IT. It's a much wider accessible audience. It's very cool to have it on your WhatsApp. So I'm excited to dig in and to build this with you guys, but it works. You are an awesome AI agent. Thank you so much. I'm glad I could assist you. If you have more questions, feel free to ask. Have a great day. All right, let's stop here, and in the next lesson, let's actually go through what these steps are, what's happening here with each module, because this might look a little confusing, but I'm excited to just break it down. We're gonna break it down. We're not gonna spend a lot of time breaking it down, and then we're gonna build it out from scratch together. I'm looking forward to doing this, guys. I'll see you there whenever you're ready. Bye for now. There is nothing like delicious coffee and working on mind-blowing next level technology. Guys, that's the dream. We're living it right now. Let's get into this. So previously, we basically tested this out to see if it works, and we talked about the benefits, and hopefully this becomes clear to you now. Like, yes, it's great to have AI agents sending emails, automating things on social media. You gotta log in, check your workflow, but it's so much better to just take out your phone like a human and send a message or make a call or a voice note. And yes, we are gonna talk about voice notes, and just ask what you need, right? Just say, hey, we need to paint the restaurant a new color. What colors work best for pizza restaurants in general? Okay, just an example. You're talking to your AI assistant. You're trying to get some help here to figure it out. Red, okay. Yellow, that's the cheerful color. Earth tones, terracotta. Sounds like mozzarella, Italian. Terracotta. Green, orange, okay. So it's just great to be able to do that. Now, of course, we're not looking at actionable requests. We're talking about research and discussion. But once it's connected, the next step is at your fingertips. All right, so that works. The benefits should be clear. Let's move on to taking a look at what we're going to be building. So this is the N8N workflow. Everything works with inputs and outputs. In computer science, when it comes to software, you have to think of things in terms of inputs, parameters, and outputs, functions. Technically speaking, so much of what you do with computer science is functional, whether or not the code is happening behind the hood. In this case, it is. But N8N is awesome because what it is, it's a workflow automation tool that allows us to connect these applications and services like WhatsApp, these AI agent modules that are built in, and then just automate these things together. But everything that we connect, these nodes or modules, they basically do what? They receive data as input from the preceding node. So think of each module here, each one of these shapes. And if you're confused about node, just think of it as a fundamental building block of the workflow. So each one's its own building block. And if that's confusing, really simply, each node is representing a specific action, right? Like the action here is receiving a message. That's why it's a trigger on WhatsApp. The action here is clearing out the data we don't want. The action here is the AI agent processing that data, and then the action over here is returning an output, okay? But I'm jumping ahead. I just want to clarify what node is so that I can illustrate the point that everything with N8N, everything that we're doing, and it's always important to save, by the way, because this is happening on the browser, so always be saving, the ABS of learning with me. But here we go, guys. Everything on N8N that we're going to be working with, every time we add a service, we add a node, we create a new action, these nodes, you have to think of them as receiving data from previous nodes in the workflow. So if receives the data from the WhatsApp trigger. All right, the AI agent over here, oops, okay, we don't need that. The AI agent over here receives the data from if. The AI agent sends that data out to this model, which is our OpenAI ChatGPT, to some memory, which controls how many messages our ChatGPT should remember of in the messages. We're gonna look at all that, guys. So that doesn't matter if we're going quickly through that because we're gonna see it slowly. And then that also sends it out over here. So N8N has the magical ability to have a multi-data flow, cyclical nature that makes it stand out from other very successful or prominent workflow automation tools like Zapier or Make. All right, that's why we're using this. This is the bomb. We're using the best, because why settle for anything less? So inputs and outputs. And you can say, well, wait, whoa, Clarion, the WhatsApp trigger, where is the WhatsApp trigger getting its input? That comes in from the actual messages on WhatsApp. It's the trigger that we set up, right? If I click test and I go to WhatsApp and I say, yo, it's going to get that message, yo. So it's pulling in data. The trigger in the workflow automation is the starting point. It's what is going to trigger this entire workflow. And in this case, what we care about are messages, right? We're sending messages to our agent. And you see that yo, there it is in the body, all right? But I don't want to do too many spoilers because it's really exciting. This is fun, guys. It's going to be cool. We're going to deal with the Facebook headache because, yeah, it's like dealing with the Death Star, major corporate entities. But we're going to fly through that, and then we're going to get to the tattoo-in, the reward on tattoo-in, which is, I don't know, our freedom to build amazing AI agents on WhatsApp. All right, guys? So input and outputs. And we're going to see what that means as we build. But if I double click on WhatsApp trigger again, notice how we have 3 boxes, essentially. We got a box on the left, see where my mouse is? We got a smaller little box in the middle, and then another box on the right? So what are these boxes? This box is always going to be our input, all right? Or it pulls in the event from what was happening before. In this case, what was happening before was the message, the yo. But a better example is if I go to the middle, or even better than that, if I go to the second module, if, what's this doing? This is taking in the input of our WhatsApp trigger. And so that might be scary to look at schema, table, JSON. It's all just different ways to look at the data, but it's very basic. It's just the data that we're getting from the input. WhatsApp trigger, contacts, messages, and what we really care about is this body here, because that's basically the juice, the content of where we want to be discussing and getting that information from our agent. So that's the input on the left. In the middle, we have the parameters. So the parameters are the conditions of what we want to do with this information. How do we want to change it? In this case, as we're going to see later on in these videos, well, we want to filter out to make sure that there's a body. Because if we're getting weird WhatsApp information and there's no body, we don't want to process that. We don't want to waste our time processing that information. And then on the right, last but not least, the hero of our story, the Captain Nemo. Is it Captain Nemo? I don't know. But the Finding Nemo of our story, it's a really bad reference, I know, is the output. And that becomes the input in the next node, but it's the output in this node. And if I click on test setup, we have this input, so it's going to be able to trigger what happened over here. And voila, it's going to say, hey, if there is a text body, that's what this code is here. We're going to learn how that works. But if there's a body, and there is, now output that information, and it's outputting it because it exists. And this output now becomes the new input of the next node. All right, that's how N8N works. That's how this system is working. All right, so those are the fundamentals. If that's easy peasy for you, just hit the fast forward button, skip over to once we start building. In the next lesson, let's stop here. In the next lesson, let's finish this overview. It's not that complex, really. We've already even brushed on some of the key characteristics of understanding how this works, like having that WhatsApp trigger and then seeing the workflow as we move forward. Let's have a brief, clear understanding of what this is in the next video, and then let's just start building, because it is easy to talk about. Most YouTube videos will talk about it or they'll go through it super fast, but that's not why you're here. On Udemy, what I'm trying to do is take very nicely built blueprints and go through them step by step so you're really learning. And coffee and good stuff. I'll see you there, guys, in the next lesson. Progress is being made. I love it. So we've done a few things already, right? We tested our model on WhatsApp. I showed you that this works and it's not some hocus pocus magic trick. This actually functions. We're going to be building it out together later on. But we went through it, we went through the benefits, and then we started talking about, well, what is this WhatsApp AI agent really? Well, we're talking about a workflow automation in N8N. And there is a difference. I see this term gets thrown around between AI agent and agentic AI. to be fair, they're closely related, but don't get caught in the trappings of just dropping buzzwords and not knowing the differences, because you will sound foolish if you don't take that time, and you won't get called out on it. And it's just good in general to have these things cleared, especially on YouTube. Many people are just dropping words just because they're trending. AI agent, right? This AI agent here, the tools agent that we see, it's designed specifically for well-defined tasks, all right? This is a tool that's going to excel at a particular job, which is basically the WhatsApp Business Cloud, as we're going to see. Specifically from that, sending messages and by interpreting triggers. All right, that's what this one is. It's our custom design. But I want you to extrapolate out of that, right? The AI agent is designed to perform the specific well-defined tasks. When we talk about agentic AI, that's more of the broader paradigm. And what I mean by that, just simply, you can think of AI agents as the building blocks, and agentic AI is going to be the framework, this overall framework that allows those building blocks to work together. Now, since this is rather simple, it's primarily an AI agent for now, because most of these WhatsApp AI agent tools, we're going to handle specific tasks like answering the questions or processing orders or whatever you're going to end up using it for on your own and take this. It's primarily an AI agent, but it has the potential for agentic AI. If we were to introduce some kind of sophistications with reasoning and planning, then it could really start going into characteristics of agentic AI. If we can build this to integrate with other systems and perform complex tasks, then it moves closer to agentic AI. So this really is an AI agent, but we're building it through modularity for the scope of agentic AI as a framework. Understand the difference, guys. And if you're still confused, I'll give you one more perspective or example to think about it. We're building an AI agent that can basically receive messages on WhatsApp, right? But it's limited. It's going to be limited to the chat interface. If we could message it and also say, hey, schedule a post about the new sale on Instagram, and it were to retrieve product information from a database, generate social media posts, schedule the post and confirm, then we're heading into AI agentic workflow. Those are the differences. I want to stop there because I do want you to think about it. I don't want to just drop buzzwords. I want us to really understand them as we go along. And now that we've defined that we're building an AI agent primarily to get started with the capacity and the modularity to become agentic, all right? Let's have some coffee, do a couple push-ups, whatever keeps you in the game. And in the next lesson, let's complete our understanding of what we're doing on this planet together on Udemy, looking at this in this moment of time. I'll see you there. Alrighty. Welcome back, my friend.
I am AI agent, welcome you back.
Okay, guys, welcome back. That wasn't me, by the way. Don't even worry about that. Okay, so we've got our WhatsApp trigger, all right? So hopefully now you understand that this is listening to basically messages that we're gonna be sending when we send a message. That's what that trigger is doing. It's gonna pull it specifically from the message, of course, to our bot, which we're gonna create in this course. Then that output is gonna be directed into this net, so to speak. It's basically like a filter that's making sure, hey, was there even a message that you're sending, or are you sending me a bunch of junk? And if there is a message, it says, okay, all right, I see a message over here. I'm gonna now send that over. So that gets sent over to the AI agent. The AI agent over here is then gonna take a look and be like, wow, okay, this is pretty cool. I've got this information over here. What's happening now? So remember, we got the input, the parameter, the output. So the input is we're receiving this. This might get a little bit confusing because notice here we have multiple connections to our module, whereas here it seemed like a pretty clear flow, right? It goes here, true, false. If there isn't anybody, nothing happens. But what's happening here? Well, the AI agent needs 3 pieces to connect in order for it to function, all right? This is a module that we're gonna see in N8N and learn how it works. But for now, just think of it as this is our AI agent tool that needs a few connectors. The real main connectors for it are the chat model. So that's like the brain, right? So you can use OpenAI, Perplexity, DeepSeek, whatever type of large language model, which is going to interpret the data that you hook up. In this course, we're going to use OpenAI. And then a memory, so we can control how we're going to be working with that memory, all right? And in this case, we are going to be working specifically with the context window length of the messages, how we can control how many messages in WhatsApp we want the AI agent to go back and remember. You can change this number. So this should be 10 messages going back. It's going to remember, 10 messages going back. It's going to remember and use that as the context, all right? And then the output. The tool would be to create actions, which we're not going to worry about for now. So this tool, if you guessed it, this tool is basically the path to being agentic. But for now, the key is that we want to see that we're receiving messages and then getting responses. And so once we have that brain interpreting, we can send that into our WhatsApp Business Cloud. And we're just going to get that previous node information over here. So we get the yo-yo. And if we test that setup, notice how we have our responses over here with the yo-yo. And we can see the yo-yo here. It worked when I ran the test. Hey there, how can I assist you? And a response. So this is it, guys. So that's it, guys. That's it. Hopefully not that bad, right? If you take a look and you take a step back and you're able to deal with my terrible jokes and impressions, you will notice that, hold on, it's all just about the flow of data and then controlling that flow of data. And we have a wonderful, wonderful platform here that's going to handle so many of these integrations, which would take a ton of code. That gets done. But we also have the flexibility to customize as much code as we want with N8N as well. It's much more flexible and customizable than pretty much everything else out there, which makes it so awesome to work with. All right. So a quick review, cherry on top, just to go through it again. All right. We got a WhatsApp trigger, listening to the messages, sends over to this if function, which just checks to make sure that there's actual messages in this response and we're not getting any type of junk we don't want. If it's there, then we send it out over to our AI agent, which has the OpenAI brain that we hook up. It has a memory where we can control how many messages it's going to remember from our WhatsApp, and then it sends that information as an output over into the message. So that's the response, essentially. So basically, our AI agent, in the simplest of terms, receives a message that we sent and then responds. And that goes back into our WhatsApp account. And all we have to do is hook up the authorization to our WhatsApp account and plug this stuff in, and then it works. And that's what we're going to do in this course. That is the most simple and easiest way I could put it. Of course, it's much more complex under the hood and what's happening. But if you understand that, and that makes sense, awesome. We're ready to move forward, and we'll take a look at each module one at a time. And let's build our WhatsApp AI agent, guys. I hope you're excited. I'm very excited to build this and get started with you. Whenever you're ready, I'll see you in the next lesson where the fun begins. Okay? I'll see you there. Okay, so this is where the fun begins. This is where we get our hands dirty. And we're going to build together, starting from scratch, step by step, an AI agent with a advanced workflow enough that there will be multiple steps with text classification, AI interpretation, sending out the data, running tests, taking a look at input-output flows with schema and JSON, and just seeing how everything comes together with an extremely powerful tool called N8N. It's a platform, so I want you to go to N8N.io, and you're going to come to this page over here. Now if you've never heard of what N8N is, worry not. We're going to go through this now and talk about it. It's basically for workflow automation, and it provides you with incredible tool access and integrations that streamline. So you have access to everything here, very low code, but has highly advanced performance. And then the AI agent integration on it is exceptional. It's like so powerful that I can't wait. I'm very excited to show you what you can do with this. You don't need to be an advanced programmer, or even you really don't need to know any coding. We will go over basics and fundamentals, but of course you could skip through that if you're already a seasoned expert. So we're on N8N now. What is it? What is this platform? So imagine you have a robot that helps you automate tasks, like sending emails, updating a spreadsheet, or organizing your calendar, okay? Now imagine that robot is super flexible and can connect different apps and services without needing any coding skills, okay? That's basically what N8N does and is, all right? It can it can streamline so many apps for you and services. You're gonna see. And if it's not there, you can of course always program in custom codes and function nodes, as we're gonna see, that then connect to APIs. You could customize that as well, but it really has so many streamlined integrations that the majority of what you're going to be using on an enterprise level or a professional level or a personal level is already integrated. That's why it's fantastic. So this is an open source program. It's basically an open source automation tool, and you can create workflows between different apps and services. All right. So what do I mean by the different apps? Well, Gmail, Slack, Google Sheets, Twitter, Telegram, WhatsApp, Meta, whatever you can think of, they pretty much have it, at least in the mainstream. And we're going to be demonstrating this. We're going to be using Google Calendar and Gmail, and I'm going to show you how to hook that up. Now, I'm not going to go into what Gmail is or Google Calendar is. I'm assuming that you have both of those things. If not, you're going to need to make a Gmail account, and then just go to Google Cal, and you'll be able to set up your Google Calendar, which I think gets automatically set up with a Gmail account anyway. But if for whatever reason you're not sure, you can just go to Google Calendar and set it up. I'll show you that as we go, but it really shouldn't be complicated. Going back to N8N, this is a very powerful system, as we're going to see, because the fact that we can streamline and add all of these types of integrations to it so seamlessly makes it a very beautiful workflow to build and very powerful to do things in finance, HR, marketing, engineering, DevOps, AI, and we're going to be playing with a bunch of these things. Let's stop there for now. What I want you to do before I go into in the next lesson, where we're going to take a look specifically at N8N for AI agents, I want you to at least make an account. So you want to click on Get Started, set up your account, go through the process, put your name. You can try it for free. You're going to get 14 days for free. That should be plenty of time to go through this course. After that, it's quite, you can pay like, I don't know, I think it's like maybe $10 or something for a month, and then cancel it if you're going to take longer to go through this course. But if you're doing it all in one shot, you can just do it that way. You could always, of course, just wait, cancel, and then do it for those days when you know you're going to have enough time to go through this course. Okay? So make an account. Once you have an account, you can log in, put in your account name, and click on Sign In. It should already be hooked up. If you do it through Auth0 with Gmail through a third party, then you don't even have to. It's going to check and cache and then sign you in automatically, which is great. So you should get to the project overview workflow. So there's a great way to stop. Let's stop here, make an account. Once you're set up, you should go into the dashboard. I'm in the workflow right now, so it might not look exactly like this, but just to show you, it'll take you to this homepage. Okay, so we'll stop here, and in the next lesson, let's talk about, by the way, you're not going to see these because these are just some projects, because we're going to build our own. But in the next lesson, we're going to talk about what N8N does for AI agents. And after that, enough with the lecturing and the blah, blah, blah. And we're going to get into building this project together. And as we build these AI agents together and see how the workflow works, I believe this is the best way for you to fully understand and grasp what the magnitude of capability is with AI agents. So that's it, guys, for now. See you in the next lesson. Once you're ready to dive in, we'll get to the next step. Bye-bye. Okay, so, man, can you feel it? The energy? This is exciting. We're about to get into building our own AI agent together and learn about the process and the workflow and see this in action. So you don't have to take my word anymore for it. You can see for yourself and just see how powerful and exciting this technology is. I honestly think I'm underhyping it, but we'll see. I want you to take a look and make your own assessment, and then please let me know in the reviews what you think after. I very much appreciate this. I really enjoy building courses, and I appreciate hearing from you and then working on better quality and just bringing to you guys interesting technology in ways that are practical and put together. Okay, so you should see a dashboard now. You should have created your account. And in your dashboard, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't, if you see these test runs, none of this should be here. It should just be like a blank dashboard for the most part with workflow. If you click on credentials, you're going to see that I have credentials already uploaded because I've been messing around with it in order to build out the lectures. So we're going to add your credentials as you go along. It's very easy and intuitive to do it. If you run into any issues, just shoot a message. But there's even AI integration that can help you step by step. And you can ask questions without even having to go to ChatGPT, but you shouldn't have any credentials yet. They'll be automatically requested as we're building. So what is, before we start the last thing, and I want you to notice here that we do have this on the sidebar, different options like templates, admin panel, variables. If we click on templates, you're going to see that we go back to this template page, kind of like how it looked on the front page, and there's these different trending templates, like things that you can just do to get started, like chat with GitHub API and all these agents. You can feel free to check through that while I talk about in this lesson, because we're not going to start building till the next lesson. I do want to talk about one more thing, and what that is basically is I want to go through the fundamentals of what N8N is for AI agents. And why we were working with this tool. So if we talk about AI agents and N8N together, basically the value here and why this is extremely valuable for companies, as well as for personal workflow if you use it very strategically, is because of how it can automate with artificial intelligence and streamline so much work. So what do I mean by that? Well, imagine you want to set up like a super smart workflow that involves any type of AI. So that can be any type of AI, using a chatbot, running a text classifier as we're going to do, or even making predictions based on data. You can do that as well. With N8N, you can essentially integrate AI services that make them work in a workflow along with all of your other apps. And so you can see, like, we have all these different types of templates, like pulling data from services, joining different data sets, preparing data. These, they're all these templates aren't very complex. What we're going to build will be much more complex than most of these templates. It's not going to be like crazy or anything, but you'll see that there's more to it. Like if we were to click, by the way, it's okay if you're going to see different templates than me, because this is just pulling up data of what's trending or featured, and I'm sure this could be very different by the time you're watching the video. All right, but just so you see that there are different ones. So that's really what it is. N8N for AI agents. You can have a chatbot that answers customer questions on your website. You could build this here. When it gets a question, the AI agent can automatically log the query into a Google Sheet for you. You can depending on the classification, N8N can essentially take different actions, like sending an email to the team, tagging conversations, hooking it up in Slack, whatever you want to do. All right. So I think that should give you an idea. We've basically already talked about it. Here I am back, by the way, in the dashboard for the workflow. But yeah, we've already talked about it. So I think it's enough with the yappening. Let's get to the happening. In the next lesson, for realsies, let's get started building out this powerful workflow and automate an AI agent that can run our email system for us and hook up events to our Google Cal, run automated responses on messages depending on who's writing us, or the label of the type of person, or the type of classification of the type of email. And I'm going to show you all of this in the following videos as we get started together. So that's it. See you in the next lesson.